Hey guys, first of all, I would like to say um, that this is definitely a very different format to how Mrs. Zank and I have taught before, and so it's a learning period for us and for all of you guys. So bear with us if we make any mistakes. And then I'd also like to note again that I did put, video clips on our school, our Google Classrooms page, talking about where you can find food. Well, not find food, where you can pick up food if that's something your family wants to do from the ISD 77 locations. A clip on how to wash your hands, which I get, yes, maybe seems a little ridiculous, but there's a lot more to it than you would think, to be honest. And just a link to the World Health Organization to kind of give you the most up to date information about this pandemic and about everything that's going on. Anyhow, let's get to it. So, our learning objective for today is to learn the difference between praise. Ooh, I don't like how that just like popped up in the way. Praise, criticism, or feedback. And this is wants me to do some like group activity, which obviously we're not going to do given the circumstances. So I'm just going to go over the definitions here. So praise, as you guys probably already know, is an expression of approval, a way to compliment someone, but we're talking about like a workplace setting. And we'll get into examples of that in a second. Criticism, expression of disapproval based on perceived mistakes or faults. And feedback is information about a person's performance or task used primarily as a basis for improvement. So these two get a little tricky sometimes, and so it's totally okay if you guys get confused about that. That's normal. But just remember, feedback um, isn't just, hey, you're bad at something. Um, it's hey, you should try doing it. You seem to be struggling with something. If you did it this way, it might work easier for you. The goal of feedback is at the end of the day, um, like it says, a basis for improvement. You're trying to get the person to improve, or if you're being given feedback, the person is trying to help you improve. So it comes from like a much better place than criticism. Where criticism, you're just criticizing. Um, so here are the examples. We're not going to do any of this because that's all group work stuff. Mr. Jones told me about how much he appreciated your thank you note after the job interview. He thought it was a great personal touch. Um, so this one, normally in a regular lesson, I'd let you guys kind of tell me, but obviously, this is a bit different. This one is pretty obviously praise, right? An expression of approval. He was really thankful that you went ahead and you gave him that thank you note. So that's a great example of praise. Okay. Now this one, your desk is a mess. Are you Are you sure you're not trying to grow your own paper? Um, so really, I think right off the bat, we can tell this isn't praise. There's no positive, there's no sort of expression of approval here. So you can, X that one off. So now we're between these two. Ooh, I'm trying to get praise out of there we go. And gosh. Anyways, just pretend praise isn't there. We're between criticism and feedback. Um, so an expression of disapproval based on perceived mistakes or faults or feedback, information about a person's task used primarily as basis for improvement. Well, is there really any sort of basis for improvement here? Is anything they're saying here going to improve their desk situation? No, I would go ahead and say no. That you're not saying, if this was feedback, hey, it seems like you could say it more polite than this, but sure, hey, your desk is a bit unorganized. You could try, using these paper organizers that we have around the office. Maybe that's what I did. That's what helped me. Or you could try digitizing more things to get some of that stuff off your desk. That would be feedback. This, however, is pretty clearly criticism. I've noticed you've been coming in late the last couple of days. Now, to be honest, I really went back and forth on this one quite a bit. But because it is kind of sharp, it is very much a negative thing. Obviously, once again, this isn't any praise in any sort of way. But at the end of the day, I do think this would fall under feedback, because you are using information about the person's performance of a task. So in this case, their task is coming into work on time, which they have been failing to do. And you could say that, yeah, they're using this as a basis of improvement. Hey, you've been coming in late the last couple of days implies that you want them to start working towards coming in on time. And they didn't say it super impolitely at all either. This wasn't stop coming in late, like, why are you always so late? It wasn't like a rude, it was very much to the point, which is what you want to do with feedback. And so that's why I'd categorize it that way. So when we have our exit ticket, I'm going to ask you guys to give examples of these. If you're in between, hey, I don't know if this is criticism, I don't know if this is feedback, as long as you kind of tell me what you're going for, I'm going to give you credit for it. I'm not going to sit here and make you guys, rewrite the dictionary on what the difference between praise versus feedback is. So just know that. How about number 4? How many times do I have to tell you how to file these documents? That's clearly criticism, right? You're not really giving them, your end goal in that isn't to improve them. It's because you're mad at them and you're annoyed, which is going to happen in any workplace. But feedback would be more like, hey, it seems like you need to review how to file these documents. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so there's absolutely no basis for improvement on that one. You look great today. Pretty clearly praised. I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. It would work better for me if I could explain my version of the story out loud before you ask questions. That's feedback, and that's fair. Second, I gotta log in my laptop. That's a totally fair thing to say. Hey guys, you're not saying it in a rude, condescending way. You're just saying, hey, it would work better for me. Let me give the presentation. And then you can ask your questions. So very clearly you have a basis for improvement. So that would be feedback. You've improved a lot this week. Praise. I found it difficult to evaluate this resume because it was messy. Although that is kind of really, I don't jaded, sharp to the, I don't know. I'm not, my brain cannot think of the right words. Really blatant, I think, is maybe what I was going for. This is feedback because at the end of the day, you're saying, hey, you could argue both ways, I guess, for this one. Kind of up in the air. You're not. You could argue this is feedback because, hey, you're pointing out a problem with the resume, and you were saying you're implying to fix it. You could also, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's necessarily their goal. It's more to just call them out about their messy resume. So I guess I'd probably categorize that as criticism. Again, for the exit ticket, just put what you think. I'm not gonna take off points one way or the other. Just tell me what you think, and I am down for whatever you guys put. As long as you don't put like a praise thing in the criticism category, obviously then you're gonna lose points for you guys, and then, the difference between those ones are pretty clear. I liked it much better when we got to choose projects instead of being assigned to one. That is that's feedback. You're just telling them how you feel. Like, hey guys, and you're looking for that improvement. You're looking for a basis for improvement. You're just saying, hey guys, like, I think it's a better idea for all of us if we got to choose the assignment and instead of being assigned one. So that is feedback, because just keep in mind with feedback, you want, as long as there's like a basis for improvement, which I get is really hard to tell sometimes. So define praise, feedback. I don't know why praise is capitalized. It really does not need to be. Praise, feedback, and criticism, and give an example of each. Just literally, you can pause this video, and I think I'm going to upload maybe like a screenshot of this. But, for the definition part, that's obviously really easy because you just go right here and you literally can just copy it. Or if you kind of put in your own words, I'm fine with that too, as long as it is correct. And then just give me an example of criticism, an example of praise, an example of feedback. And that is your exit ticket. Email me if you have any questions. And so, yeah, that's all I need for this lesson.